What's going on, guys? It's Nolan's Playbook. Today's first hot topic: the New York Giants falling to 0-3. Russell Wilson's struggles continue. The Kansas City Chiefs get their first win of the year. My second hot topic is the Philadelphia Eagles come back against the Los Angeles Rams, and the Rams blowing a big lead. Let's get right into it. The first game, the New York Giants and the Kansas City Chiefs. This game was not pretty at all, but somehow Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs prevailed for their first win. Let's give you some stats. For Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, Pat was 22 of 37, 224 yards, one touchdown pass he threw to Tyquan Thornton. It was a bullet pass that Patrick Mahomes threw to Tyquan Thornton, and it was Patrick Mahomes-like, Patrick Mahomes-esque. Pat had 5 carries for 2 yards. Pat was sacked 2 times. Isaiah Pacheco had 10 carries for 45 yards. Kareem Hunt had 10 carries for 34 yards and 1 touchdown. Juju Smith-Schuster had 4 receptions for 55 yards. Hollywood Brown, 4 receptions for 42 yards. Travis Kelce, 4 receptions for 26 yards. Not a pretty offensive game again by the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, when you're missing Rashad Rice and Xavier Worthy, your offense is not going to be pretty because those are your 2 most explosive wide receivers. And when you are missing that kind of production, you are going to struggle. The struggles continued, but in the most Chiefs way, they found a way. A lot of that had to do with their defense. A lot of that had to do with the Giants' game planning and the play calling. In the plays they were calling for Russell Wilson was just horrible. For the Giants side of things, Russell Wilson was 18-32, 160 yards. He threw 2 interceptions. He was sacked twice. Russell Wilson had 5 carries for 27 yards. It's no secret that he struggled. Cam Scatterbo, 10 carries for 60 yards, 1 touchdown. Cam Scatterbo also had 6 receptions for 61 yards. Tyrone Tracy Jr. had 7 carries for 29 yards. Devin Singletary had 4 carries for 11 yards. Darius Slayton, 4 receptions for 30 yards. Wan'Dale Robinson only had 1 reception for 26 yards. And Malik Neighbors only had 2 receptions for 13 yards. If you remember, so let's go to the Giants side of things. If you remember last week, this New York Giants team played a horrific Dallas Cowboys defense. And Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors, they had a field day offensively. And the Giants put up 34 points. And Russell Wilson was stat padding and he put up his numbers. Not this week. The game planning was bad. The play calling was bad. One thing that the Kansas City Chiefs did well, they took away Malik Neighbors. They took away Wan'Dale Robinson. And the one thing that the Giants had going for them, they went away from it. They went completely away from it. Let's start here. Play calling, absolutely horrendous. Yes, Russell Wilson did struggle, but when you keep trying to force a deep ball down the field off of Brian Daboll's play calling and the plays that they're calling, that's not on Russell Wilson. That's on the coach. Brian Daboll, you are not playing the Dallas Cowboys anymore. We know how bad the Dallas Cowboys defense is without Micah Parsons. You're not playing the Cowboys. You playing Steve Spagnuolo and the Kansas City Chiefs. We know how great of a genius and a defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo is. We know that he's going to make the necessary adjustments. And he knew what y'all like to do with y'all game planning. Y'all like to throw the deep ball. And y'all tried it again against a way better defense than Dallas Cowboys and Kansas City. Y'all tried to just force deep ball. Russell Wilson threw 2 interceptions. One of those Russell Wilson interceptions, he tried to go to Wan'Dale Robinson, and he underthrew the ball, and it got intercepted. and it was a forced throw because y'all were impatient and y'all trying to go down the field for a deep ball where you did not need to do that. That was one of Russ's interceptions. The second interception was right before halftime. He tries to force a ball that was underthrown to Malik Neighbors, and it gets intercepted right before halftime. It gets intercepted, trying to force a ball to Malik Neighbors. Keep in mind, they were in field goal position. The New York Giants, y'all in field goal position. Y'all got Cam Scatterbo in the backfield. He had a great game. Why not continue with your run game? Why go away from something that was actually working? Cam Scatterbo should not have had only 10 carries for 60 yards. He has to get more touches running the ball, not just 10 carries. He had 60 yards off of 10 carries. That's pretty good for a limited number of carries. That's pretty good. Why y'all trying to force these passes? I don't understand the game planning. So when Russell Wilson threw that interception trying to force the ball to Malik Neighbors right before the half, and the New York Giants were in field goal position, you know what Kansas City did? We know what Pat did. They got a field goal. They got the 3 points. The Kansas City Chiefs got the 3 points that the New York Giants should have had off of a dumb play call. That's all I'm telling you guys. Yes, Russell Wilson was very inaccurate. He was. He deserves a lot of criticism. But Brian Daboll and his coaching staff did not have this team prepared with the play calling and the game plan that they tried to go out here and execute, that they didn't execute. That's atrocious. That's atrocious. Y'all saying Russell Wilson's underthrowing these balls and he's making all these mistakes. The play calling. Another thing that lost the New York Giants this game, on third down, the New York Giants were only 1 for 10 on third down. If you want to try and win an NFL football game, you have to convert on third down. If you are going to fail to do that, you are not going to win a game. And that's a big reason why they only scored 9 points. The Kansas City Chiefs on third down were 18 of 15 on third down. On fourth down, the Kansas City Chiefs didn't even attempt a fourth down. They didn't even have to. The New York Giants were 1 of 4 on fourth down. Rushing yards. The New York Giants outrushed Kansas City 130 to 105. That's what I'm saying. Go to what works. Brian Daboll, why are you and your coaching staff running away from what's working for y'all? If the run game is working for y'all, why not keep going to that? Another thing, Malik Neighbors was not involved in this game. If you get a couple of screen passes or get a couple of 4 or 5 yard throws to Malik Neighbors, things like that will get him going. You don't have to try to throw the ball 15 and 20 yards to Malik Neighbors, and then you have a quarterback in Russell Wilson who's way past his prime, trying to throw all these deep balls, trying to fit passes in there, and it's not going to work. Why not call easier plays like screen passes for Malik Neighbors, or get him a 4 to 5 yard pass to feed him and get him going that way? It's easier that way. Not trying to go down the field and trying to throw all these balls in double coverage. That's another thing. In the fourth quarter, Russell Wilson threw the ball to Malik Neighbors in double coverage. He got hit and he got hurt. And all that could have been avoided if they wasn't trying to force these deep balls and trying to force a throw to Malik Neighbors in double coverage. That's all play calling. That's all play calling. Passing first downs, Kansas City had 13 passing first downs to the Giants 7. Rushing first downs, the Giants had 8 rushing first downs to the Kansas City Chiefs 6. Passing yards, the Kansas City Chiefs had 201 passing yards to the New York Giants 151. With all that being said, the score was 22-9. Patrick Mahomes, he looked okay. Kansas City, you have to give credit to their defense. Steve Spagnuolo had his team ready to go. And this New York Giants defensive front line, they only gave up 22 points to this Giants defense. That's good enough when you're playing a Kansas City Chiefs team. It's just the defensive front of Kansas City, they couldn't disrupt Patrick Mahomes like we thought they would. With all this being said, the Giants are 0-3. Jackson Dart will be getting the start this week. But I'm going to tell y'all something. And just listen to what I have to say. If Brian Daboll and his coaching staff, if they are going to call these same dumb plays for Russell Wilson, if they're going to call them same play, if they're going to call them same plays for Jackson Dart, get ready for Jackson Dart to be in the hell of hot water. I'm telling you now. And I'll leave it at that. Let's transition to my second hot topic of this podcast today. The Rams and the Eagles. What a game that was. The Rams, they dominated the first three quarters. Fourth quarter, it was all Eagles in their comeback. Matthew Stafford was 19-33. He had 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Matthew Stafford was only sacked one time. Kyron Williams had 20 carries for 94 yards. He had 2 receptions for 18 yards and 1 touchdown off of a play action pass from Matthew Stafford. Blake Corum out of Michigan, the running back, had 8 carries for 53 yards. He had a solid game. Puka Nacua had 11 receptions for 112 yards. Devontae Adams had 3 receptions for 56 yards. He had 1 touchdown catch off of a deep ball and a nice throw by Matthew Stafford. That connection between Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams each week is coming along nicely. Jalen Hurts was 21 of 32 for 226 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts threw. He had 9 carries for 40 yards and 1 rushing touchdown did Jalen Hurts have. Jalen Hurts was sacked 4 times, and he lost a fumble recovery off of a sack. Saquon Barkley had 18 carries for 46 yards. Saquon had 4 receptions for 9 yards. A.J. Brown had 6 receptions for 109 yards, 1 touchdown, and a throw from Jalen Hurts that he caught for the touchdown that should have been offensive pass interference on A.J. Brown because he clearly pushed off. I don't know how the referees allowed that. It was a lot of things that the referees allowed in this game that should not have been allowed and should have been called for a penalty. Devontae Smith had 8 receptions for 60 yards, and he caught the touchdown from Jalen Hurts that gave Philadelphia their first lead late in the fourth quarter. Dallas Goedert had 1 reception for 33 yards and 1 touchdown off of a nice throw from Jalen Hurts in the beginning of the second half. Let's go to the Rams side of things. First 3 quarters, the Rams completely dominate this game. They're dominating. It's 19-7 at halftime. That's the key. It was 19-7 at halftime. I can count for 5 throws that Matthew Stafford made on third down that you like, Matthew Stafford, what in the world are you doing? What kind of throws is that? Matthew Stafford's throws were just off the mark on all of his third downs, it seemed like. At least 5 of them, his throws on third down was just completely off, or just the Rams just couldn't catch the ball. You have to give credit to the Philadelphia Eagles defense on third down for stopping the Rams, obviously. You give credit when credit is due, but the Rams could have had a bigger lead at halftime. It didn't have to be 19-7 at halftime. If Matthew Stafford just makes accurate throws on third down, the Rams have a bigger lead at halftime, and that takes a lot out of the Philadelphia Eagles' mental at halftime, and they don't draw up this big comeback in the second half. Matthew Stafford did lose the Rams this game. I'm going to tell you that now. It was not the Rams defense that lost in this game. Matthew Stafford had a chance to put up more points than 19 for his team in the first half, and off his throws on third down, that ended up being crucial in costing the Rams this game. The Rams' run game was pretty good. Kyron Williams had a good game. Blake Corum had a good game. Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams had a good game. It's just, if Matthew Stafford was accurate on third down, the Rams could have ran away with this game. The Rams, or not the Rams, but the Eagles, they scored a touchdown in the first half. The only touchdown, they only scored the first half was 7. They scored a touchdown on a controversial tush push, as we know they've been doing. The referees said coming into this game and coming into this week, or coming into last week, I rather should say, that they were going to be calling the tush push close after the Eagles game with Kansas City, because they said that the Eagles offensive line was false starting. When they scored the touchdown on the tush push in this Rams game, the Eagles offensive lineman literally false started. Literally. And it was not called. And it was plain as day. But keep in mind, all these referees, they say, oh yeah, we're going to call it close. We're going to call it tight. If y'all call a false start on that tush push because it was clear as day, the Eagles might not have no points in the first half because their offense was so horrendous in the first half. They might not have any points in the first half because the offense was so bad in the first half. Saquon Barkley was a non-factor. He only had 18 carries for 46 yards. The Rams did a really good job of stopping Saquon Barkley. You have to give them credit for that. Jalen Hurts was sacked 4 times, and he fumbled off of one of those sacks, and it was recovered by the Rams. The Philadelphia Eagles' offensive line was horrible. And we usually do not say that about the Philadelphia Eagles' offensive line because they have one of the best lines in the offense. They have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL for years now. For at least 4 or 5 years, they've had the best offensive line. They didn't do a good job of protecting Jalen Hurts at all. But you have to give credit to this Rams defensive front because they really got after the football. They really got after Jalen Hurts. They really got after Saquon Barkley. Their secondary, they struggled with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. Another thing that I would mention about Matthew Stafford, he throws an interception because he's trying to fit a pass in between defenders, and Zach Vaughn, linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, intercepts it. He reads what Matthew Stafford trying to do, and he intercepts the ball. Another thing in this game, after they took the lead on the Devontae Smith touchdown, Matthew Stafford leads a nice possible game-winning drive. At the end of this game, the Rams are going for a game-winning field goal. It gets blocked. Ultimately, after it gets blocked, Jordan Davis picks it up, and he runs it for a touchdown, game over. Now, the blocked field goal, game is over. Jordan Davis, he really doesn't have to run it for a touchdown, but he does for the fun of it, and that seals the deal. Early on in the fourth quarter, the Rams are going for a field goal. It's 26-21. If the Rams make that field goal early on in the fourth quarter, field goal is 3 points. Score is going to be 29-21. That gets blocked. So 2 huge blocked field goals by the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, it's the Rams not capitalizing on the opportunity that they have. You have an opportunity to go up 29-21, it's a blocked field goal. You have an opportunity after Matthew Stafford leads a nice drive to go for the game-winning field goal, that gets blocked. So, as well as the Rams played in this game for 3 quarters, this game was more about the Philadelphia Eagles coming back more than it was about the Rams blowing it, in my opinion. Because you let the Eagles have a lot of momentum, and that shouldn't have happened. Passing first downs. The Rams had 10 passing first downs to the Philadelphia Eagles 9 rushing first downs. The Rams had 11 rushing first downs to the Philadelphia Eagles 8. passing yards. The Eagles had 202 passing yards to the Rams 196. The Rams outran the Eagles 160 to 86. Matthew Stafford, you have to have a better game. 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT, sacked once. You have to have a better game. You have to be accurate on third down. And usually Matthew Stafford is accurate, especially on third downs. For whatever reason in this game, he was not accurate on third downs. You do have to give a lot of credit to the Philadelphia Eagles defense. One thing after this game that a lot of people complained about was how lethargic this Philadelphia Eagles offense was in the first half. All I got to say to you guys is calm down. This Rams team is not getting enough credit for how good their defense is. They got after Jalen Hurts and sacked Jalen Hurts 4 times and forced a fumble and got the ball back. This Rams secondary is pretty good. They shut down the Eagles in the first half. And like I keep saying to y'all, the Eagles only had 7 points in the first half. If they call that false start on the tush push, the Eagles might not even have no points in the first half. So we have to give credit when credit is due to another good team. The Rams are another good team. The Philadelphia Eagles defense, or rather, the Philadelphia Eagles offense has been okay. It hasn't been great, but it's been okay. So lay off trying to get on the Philadelphia Eagles offense. Because in the second half, when Jalen Hurts struggled in the first half, in the second half, Jalen Hurts completed 70% of his passes in the second half. Let that sink in. And that tells you everything you need to know about the Philadelphia Eagles offense. They are just fine. Lay off the Philadelphia Eagles. They are 3-0. They came back and they won this game. And we have to all give credit when credit is due. They won this game and Saquon Barkley didn't even have a good game. Final score ends up being 33-26. And that's all she wrote on that. Join me tomorrow for more of It's Nolan's Playbook. Tomorrow we'll be talking about Jackson Dart starting. And I will give you guys the injured quarterbacks and their performance this past week. And we out of here.